Hello, everyone. My name's Alan Pozzi, and this is my co-host, Art Meister. We're here with Knowing Real Estate, and we're going to hopefully give you some ideas on how to build your practice, grow your business, and maybe even find additional business if you're one of our key players and our key partners in the real estate industry. Art, so why don't you introduce yourself real quick and tell everybody a little bit about your real estate business?
Thanks, Alan. My name is Art Meister. And as you may know, I'm with Coldwell Banker, D.N. Harper Realtors, right here in Stone Oak. And I started getting involved in the real estate investment side back in 2003. I bought, sold, and flipped over 100 homes. After that, I went to work for a builder. And when that came to an end, I called my friend here, Alan Pozzi, and told him I was coming to work at Coldwell Banker.
We had to be careful about bringing Art on, but he brought it on and he got off to a real quick start, and the rest is history.
Well, we're making history.
That's right.
One step at a time. But I've been with Coldwell Banker, D.N. Harper Realtors now for coming up on 8 years, and it's been quite a ride. And it's great to work with your friends. It's great to be here in San Antonio, and the relationships that we've built along the way, they can't be replaced.
And and I tell you what, I've had a great partnership with Art. I know Art and I we've been friends and colleagues for way over 25 years. Back when we were like 12 years old, I think it all started. But that's a lie if you don't figure this out. But anyway, no, we've been friends and colleagues for a long time. We obviously, when I've been in the real estate business about the time Art got into the investment business, and we worked some deals together. And like I said, Art went to the home builder. I stayed on the other side of real estate, and we soon came together, and we've worked together now. Well, Art's been with our firm for now 8 years. I've been with Coldwell Banker, D.N. Harper Realtors for 16 years, and I've been in the real estate industry now 21 years. So it's been a great business, and we've had a lot of success. Something I do in real estate is I do a lot of different things. Obviously, I work with buyers and sellers that want to buy and sell a real estate investment property or a home that they want to buy or sell. But I also teach continuing ed at Champion School of Real Estate, and I also do coaching for our firm here in San Antonio with the Coldwell Banker agents, helping them build their practice, and of course building those strategic alliances with other companies we do business with. But today, one of the things Art and I were trying to talk and pick up a topic on what to talk about today to help people get their business going. It's the beginning of the year. It's early February right now, and we're figuring out, God, what do I got to do to get my business going in 2024? I kind of took January off, and what do I do? Well, one of the things we talked about, Art and I talked about, was one of the key components of any successful real estate practice is discipline. And so we talked a little bit about this, Art, and we talked about taking inventory of your time. A lot of people, agents, come to me for help, and they say, Alan, I'm going to all the training sessions, I'm going to coaching sessions, but I'm not getting any business. So what do I do to build my practice? Well, the answer to that's real quickly. Take an inventory. How are we using your time? So, Art, why don't you expand and talk about maybe how you use your time to build your business and ideas you can share with agents out there to help them build their practice?
Well, if we're going to be honest with one another, one of the things I can tell you is that I'm not always on track and I'm not always disciplined. So that's full disclosure. If we're going to be honest with one another during this podcast, you're going to have to know the good, the bad, and the ugly.
That's exactly right.
Not every day do I wake up ready to go. Some days I just don't want to do it. Some days I'd rather have a workout. But when you look at what you need to do, the morning should be spent working on your business and looking at ways to promote it, making your phone calls, following up on potential opportunities that you have, following up with people that you haven't talked to in a while. And it doesn't have to be that difficult. Sometimes you can just take 10 phone calls a day. If you can talk to 10 people a day, can you imagine how many deals you'd have during the course of a year? Now, some of us last year didn't have the year we were looking for, and the business has certainly shifted. We're looking to be engaged more with our clients, not less. And those are the ideas that we're going to bring to you. The afternoons, we should be with clients. We should have appointments set up, and we should be looking forward to the rest of the week. Weekends, open houses, taking buyers around to show them homes, and also listing appointments.
Well, something that, Art brought up a good point, and I guess I'm probably a little bit more disciplined than Art in my approach to my real estate career because I got to be because I'm doing 3 or 4 different things within the real estate industry. I look at my calendar and I time block. I look at my Mondays. Every Monday between about 7:30 in the morning till about 9:30 in the morning, that's the time I set aside for sending thank you cards to everybody I met last week. And I learned this the hard way. Actually, I learned this the easy way. Back prior to my career in real estate, I worked for AT&T for about 14 years, and I was at a Chamber of Commerce mixer. And I met the former mayor of San Antonio, Henry Cisneros. And Henry Cisneros owns a financial planning company. And we were at the opening of SeaWorld. That's how long ago this was. And I talked to him, and I just mentioned to him, I shook his hand, and we talked about the Spurs. They just drafted David Robinson or something like that. And so about 2 or 3 days later in snail mail, I get a letter, a thank you card from Henry Cisneros that said, "Hey, Alan, it was great seeing you at the Chamber Mixer. Hope the Spurs do well this year." And I said, how the hell did he remember who I was? Well, I remember exchanging business cards with him. And what he did was he wrote on the back of my card, Spurs. That's all he did. And he knew, and he probably didn't even write the letter, but he gave it to his secretary, and his secretary probably sent the letter out and probably signed it and said, hey, but I remember that to this day because he took the time to remember who I was. And that's all this is. It's that simple, guys. You have a client for life by just taking the time out and writing those thank you cards, telling people, hey, it was great seeing you at the rodeo. It was great seeing you at the chamber mixer. It was great seeing you at church, wherever you saw them, and reminding them that you're part of them. And then taking that information, putting it into your database, and contacting people on a regular basis. It's that simple. But they need it because for sell by owners aren't selling their home. Why? Because Art mentioned it a second ago. The market shifted, right?
Right.
And the market shifted. It's harder to sell a home now than it was 2 years ago. For sell by owners are low-hanging fruit. Call on for sell by owners. Expired listings. Meister, what about those guys?
I think the expired listings, if you get out far enough, that's where the real opportunities are. Somewhere past 2 or 3 months, maybe 6 months to 2 years ago, those people still want to sell their homes.
Absolutely.
And they need our help to do it. And they're frustrated. They didn't sell it the first time. So there's an opportunity there for an agent who's got the wherewithal to pick up the phone and call them. This is about courage. Many of us don't want to pick up the phone. I go through spells where I don't want to talk to anybody either. But we've got to do it. If we're in business to build those relationships, to help people get to where they need to be on time, whether that's a new home or a move or just listing their home and moving out of the area. There are opportunities for all of us, and I know that every agent in town is not taking advantage of the opportunities that we have before us, and it's a lot easier to sit back and complain than it is to take action.
Absolutely. Art mentioned a good point, too, about calling people, and that's the old school way of doing things. A lot of people like texting nowadays, but it's a lot easier to say no on a text than it is on a conversation. When you're dealing with somebody and you're having a conversation and you're engaging, you can determine their level of interest by engaging in that conversation, whereas on a text message, I have no idea if they're sincere or not, or if they're going to buy from me or not. And that's the ultimate goal. So we talked about a couple of ways, but the key ingredient and the easiest prospecting you'll do and the easiest person you'll be able to talk to is somebody you've done business with in the past or part of your sphere of influence. Those are the easiest prospects to talk to. Wouldn't you agree, Art?
I'd agree 100%. The opportunities that we have there, and we just don't do it. I mean, the bottom line is we just don't do it. So picking up the phone, those are people that we know, and they know, like, and trust us. So why shouldn't we be talking to them just a couple times a year? Make sure that you understand what's going on with their family. Make sure you understand what's going on with their careers. What are they doing for fun? And what are they doing in the future? What dreams do they have? And if you could just do those things just once in a while, your business would continue to grow, and you'd certainly keep the business that you already have.
And that's the key ingredient. I was sitting on a webinar a few weeks ago, actually before Christmas, last year in 2023, and they talked about something very interesting. And they interviewed this guy. Interviewed 5,000 agents across the country, and he asked each agent, "Where did you get your last 5 closings from?" That's 25,000 closing he was evaluating. And what was interesting was 2 to 3% came from websites, internet, TikTok, other social media sites. 86% of closings from those 25,000 closings that this guy evaluated, 86% came from agents reaching out to their sphere of influence, past clients, and family and friends. Because Art talked about it. I don't know if you knew what he was saying, but he mentioned it, and it made a lot of sense because it's true. People do business with who they know, they like, and they trust. And when you can do business with your past clients, that's the easiest prospecting you'll do. And guess what? Prospecting's our job, isn't it, Art?
It is. I mean, people make a big mistake when they get into real estate and fail to realize this is a lead generation business. So if you've taken the time to cultivate the relationship, those are leads that should keep on giving. And you should be providing that great service over and over and over to these clients that you know, that you like, and you trust also. So take the opportunities that you have in front of you and get the courage to just pick up the phone and call them. They want to hear from you. If you're in the neighborhood, call them up. Stop in and see them. Invite them out to coffee. Make sure that you're keeping that where it needs to be. What's the number one question that we're always asked when somebody sees our name tag? They want to know what's going on with the market, don't they?
Exactly.
The number one question we get all the time is what's going on in the market? Well, that comes with a varying degree of answers. What are they trying to ask you really? Are they trying to ask you because they're interested in buying or selling a home? Are they just curious? Are they thinking about getting a family member involved? Find out. They may be looking to make another investment.
Yep.
So it could be an investment home, or it may be a primary home for them or their family. So find that out before you take off on some tangent that leads you down a rat hole where you have no idea what the question is.
And I think you brought up a good point here. And we're, again, as real estate agents, we're always asked that question all the time. And I think the way I like answering that question is when somebody says, "Well, Alan, how's the market?" My retort to that is pretty easy. Depends. Are you buying or selling? And if they say, "Well, we're thinking about buying," it's the perfect time to buy. Well, why? Interest rates are real high. Yeah, but we know what interest rates are. We don't know what interest rates are going to be like 6 months from now. If they go down, you can refinance. If they go up, you're going to feel great about yourself. It's the best time to sell. Why? Because we know what the market is like right now. Right. We don't know what the market's going to be like 6 months from now. We definitely don't know what the market's going to be like after the election in 2025. It could go 1,000 different directions. So we're preparing for the now, and that's so important.
I'd agree with that. Again, there are so many opportunities for us. There's even more opportunities for us to get it wrong. But I promise you, we can't be wrong all the time when we're standing in front of somebody who's capable of buying or selling, or capable of referring us to someone else who's capable of buying or selling. So get in front of people and take advantage of the opportunities and create the other opportunities that we should be creating in this environment. With all the real estate agents who have left the business in the last year, opportunities are greater for those of us who have continued to pursue our real estate careers.
That's exactly right. And there's a whole lot of things, a whole laundry list of things we can do. We're talking about reaching out to clients right now, talking to them, calling them on the phone. But I mean, it has to be an all of the above type of strategy, I think. Wouldn't you agree, Art? Direct mail, e-newsletters, having information sessions, informal information sessions, how to buy a home, how to sell a home. Handwritten notes. I talked about that a second ago. Mm-hmm. How about taking renters? Art, I know you've had a lot of success doing this, taking renters and making them buyers.
Yeah, people don't know that the average rent in San Antonio is about $1,800 a month. Well, there's a home you can buy for $1,800 a
right.
month. There's a home in there. And they don't know about the programs with down payment assistance. And that's where the professionals in our business, they know where the opportunities lie and they know how to get people into homes. So you can take a renter and talk to them. If they've got credit high enough to rent a property, they've got credit
Exactly.
high enough to purchase a property.
Yep. No, that's exactly right. That's kind of the dirty little secret about renting is if you're qualified to rent, you're probably qualified to buy because most landlords do background checks on you, criminal background checks, et cetera, and they also do credit checks. And so the criteria for buying a home, for renting a home is a lot higher than it is for buying. Buying, they got to make sure you got great credit and you got the ability to pay back the loan. But there's something else I wanted to mention before we wrap this thing up, Art, is also, and Art mentioned it a little bit earlier, about doing business with the people we do business with. I call it a Bob list, a book of business list. We got to develop our strategic alliances, people that we do business with, lenders, insurance firms, appraisers, inspectors. If we're doing business with them and sending them business, why shouldn't they be sending us business? You think that's fair, Art?
Well, it's always fair, but I don't think it goes on as often as we'd like it to go on. We're always sending business out, and very little of that opportunity comes back. And hopefully this opportunity that we've created for you to open doors for your business and look at those things. Look at who the other companies are that you're doing business with and ask them to support you. Ask them to support the open houses perhaps that you may be doing. Ask them to support maybe an advertising piece that you're thinking about running. We don't ask or rely on other people that we send business to often enough.
No, I totally agree with that, and it can be, the obvious people, the mortgage, the lenders, the insurance providers, the title companies, inspectors, appraisers. But guess what? What about the restaurant you go to on a regular basis, or the dry cleaner you use on a regular basis that you do business with? Well, if you're doing business with them, buying lunch there 2 or 3 times a week, or taking your dry cleaning to them there 2 or 3 times a month, shouldn't they be doing business with you, or shouldn't they know you're in real estate? I mean, that's opportunity missed. So the point I think we're trying to make is if we're doing business with somebody, they should be knowing what business you're in, because you're giving them your business. They should be giving you some business as well.
That's correct. And I would say that many of us oftentimes are guilty of being secret agents. We don't talk about what we do, and we don't talk about who we are, and we don't talk about the ways that we run our business. So one quick practice I would recommend is that from this day forward, we start telling people what we do. They want to know. The easiest way to do that is ask them about challenges they have in their business. Few years, they're facing that challenge too. If we can get that out, there may be somebody in the restaurant that they know right now that is looking to buy or sell a home. And we'll also share something else with you. Oftentimes, they don't really want to do business with their friends. And that's one thing that we've got to keep that back door closed. If we've got a relationship with us, they will do business with us. But how many times have you picked up a listing or a buyer from someone who says, well, I know these other 10 people in real estate, but I like you and I want to do business with you? Hopefully all of us have had that type of experience or will in the near future. There are reasons that we resonate with certain personalities and certain people. And if we're out there, if we're networking and doing the other things that Alan mentioned, taking inventory of our time, I'm confident that we can all grow our businesses.
And Art, that's an excellent closing to all this. So I want to kind of wrap things up, but I want to remind everybody, remember, there's more to real estate than just going to training, just going to coaching, just going to meetings. There's doing the business and generating the business. Doing the business is the easy part. Generating the business is the hard part. That's out prospecting. That's out going out and finding clients. We're in the prospecting business. It's our job. And this is a career you picked. Nobody told you you had to become a real estate agent. Nobody put a gun to your head or you went to an interview and somebody hired you to be a real estate agent. No, you spent money to get licensed. You spent money to pass the test. You spent money to build a real estate practice. I think if we employ some of the things and some of the strategies we talked today, you'll get off to a fast start. And of course, In the next couple of days, we'll be doing another podcast with some more ideas on how to build your practice. And anything you'd like to say, parting shots you'd like to deliver, Art?
Sure. I'd like to ask you to subscribe to the podcast. Hit the link below. Give us a like. Give us a comment. If you respond, we'll answer you. I promise.
Absolutely.
One of us will get back to you, and we'll make contact. So, that's
a great point, and we always got to close with some type of call to action, and that's what Art did. We got a call to action, and anytime you talk to a client, anytime you talk to a prospect, you might not close the sale, but you close for the next appointment. So Art did that for the call to action. We look forward to seeing you again on Knowing Real Estate with Alan Pozzi and Art Meister. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.